Bench Opinions. Three idiots with amateur analysis.
Welcome to another episode of Bench Opinions, everybody. This week, have the Springboks put a nail in the Welsh rugby coffin? Has Eben Etzebeth forever tarnished his rugby legacy for the Springboks? Are Connacht the only good Irish rugby team left? And will Bordeaux defend their title? Or is there a South African franchise that might put their hand up finally in the Investec Champions Cup? We're going to discuss all of it today. It's only me and Klaus today. Unfortunately, Dominic does not care about this podcast or its viewers.
Our keyboard warrior will be responding to all of your comments from home.
I'm kidding. He's sends his warmest regards to everyone watching and listening. He couldn't be with us, unfortunately, today. Lots to get into, Klaus. What we'll do is we'll talk about the Wales-South Africa game, but obviously a large focus will be on the big event that happened in the 79th minute, Eben Etzebeth's red card for eye-gouging. Let's start first, though, with the results. South Africa beating Wales 73-0. A large part of the discussion in the aftermath is, was it worth it for Wales playing a test match against the number one ranked team in the world outside the international window?
First of all, I want to say a very nice intro from you there, Maxi.
Thank you.
I do, however, feel like there was a missed opportunity with something caught my eye. Some sort of a pun there, but nonetheless, a great intro. With regards to Welsh rugby and
I don't think we should be joking about such a serious matter.
I mean, you know, the best way to deal with trauma is to laugh about it.
Right.
So,
back to my question.
back to the question. The question at hand is, should South Africa and Wales have played this fixture outside of the test window? Yes, no. In hindsight, one would think no. That being said, I do believe for the Welsh players and for the South African players, it was another opportunity to test new strategies, test new players, blood new players in some cases. And so in that regard, no. Yeah. Does it hurt Welsh rugby getting a result like this? Do they lose a bit of their fans potentially?
It looked like the stadium wasn't completely sold out, so it's not like people have completely bought into that thing. I mean, we've been to Cardiff. It's a small city. I think rugby really forms part of the identity there. And when we were there, that was when I think Wales was sort of starting to come off the boil a little bit, and that stadium was packed, and there was definitely an energy around that weekend, and you could feel it. It's rugby weekend and Wales are playing, and I don't know if it was maybe just the timing of it, or maybe Welsh rugby fans sort of losing a little bit of interest, but it did look like a third of that stadium was not sold out. No,
it was definitely open, free. It's definitely empty. There we go. That's the word. Definitely empty. There were lots of seats to be seen. But as I said, still cool that many people came out. Considering the fact that there was also the Scarlets were playing and there was other rugby fixtures on that weekend in Wales, and so nice to see that people came out in the thousands and not just hundreds. But again, the question that you asked, was it worthwhile? I think yes. For both teams,
from a playing perspective,
from a playing perspective, as a spectator, I think no.
Okay, and probably from a financial point of view, which is essentially the main reason why this happened for both unions, one has to say, but more for the Welsh union than the South African union. I suppose then it would have also been marked as a success because Wales do need to play big unions to try and attract investment, and they do try to play South Africa, New Zealand or Australia, and if they don't get them in the first round, as they didn't this year, then this happens that they play them after the international window. And by the sounds of it, listening to a few other podcasts, it's happened before quite a bit. I know Skulkberger was talking about it, how this Wales fixture sometimes does that. Siya Kolisi came out after the game and said he is very much for this game being played because he doesn't believe that even a bad drubbing like it was would have a negative impact for those Welsh players because they do have to test themselves against the best.
You're not going to get better playing against teams that are worse than you. So for the Welsh players, especially the players that are on the fringe who got an opportunity to play now because the first string players were all back at their unions, they got to expose themselves to I mean, this sounds arrogant as a South African fan or a Springbok fan saying, like, oh, they got to test themselves against the best. But in this case, they got to test themselves against one of the best teams, if not the best team currently. And so they would take lots of experiences from that. They'll take lots of learnings from that, and that will help them grow in their career. So definitely a win for them in that regard.
Yeah.
Obviously, getting pummeled like that is not going to be fun.
Yeah.
But you learn your biggest learnings through your failures.
Absolutely. And they are playing in the Six Nations, and they play France, Ireland, and England, arguably all three amongst the top 5 teams in the world. So it's not like this was a one-off. They will face good teams, and they have faced good teams all the time. They played New Zealand the week before. I think they looked a little bit more dangerous with the players that they still had in camp then, because I think what was disheartening for the Welsh is just how little they had to offer on attack. I don't think they entered that Springboks 22 a lot, and if they did, it did look like it was on accident.
Unfortunately, felt like they maybe had 4 opportunities where it got quite exciting, quite close. There was one kick where Damien Willemse just let it roll out. That could have been an easy 50-22. The game starts looking very different. South Africa under pressure. There was one where I don't even know what the player's name is, but it was their winger. He did some crazy football kick from outside, pulling the ball back in, running straight past Kane and Moody.
Yeah.
Again, Damien Willemse sort of getting himself between ball and player and letting it go over the dead ball line. So there were a couple of opportunities that could have been really close, but those would have just been a couple of points on the board. It wouldn't have changed the general outcome of the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely agree with that. Any standout performances from a Springbok point of view that caught your eye?
From a Springbok point of view, I mean, man of the match went to Andre Esterhuizen.
Yeah.
He's been playing so well at flank, and we haven't really seen him in the back line as much anymore. And you put him in the back line and the guy unleashes, and he carries like a flanker, runs like an inside center, and it's exciting to watch. Obviously against a weaker team in this regard, so maybe it's a little bit more flattering than it would be against a France, New Zealand, England, Ireland. But nonetheless, he played very well, good handling skills. I felt like he is an inside center, just like Damien Willemse, who is more likely to get the ball wide than a Damien Delende, for example, which unlocks the back line, which makes it a lot more exciting. But at the same time, he can run straight into a mountain of people and just carry them on his back, which is very impressive.
It's been a breakout year for him. He did play well for the Sharks for a long time, and has really been able to show a lot of that for the Springboks now. Brian Abana mentioned this on For the Love of Rugby. He said that one could technically see a 8-0
split
on the bench now. With the versatility you get from Kwagga and from Andre Esterhuizen, because they can cover a few positions on the back line. Kwagga being able to cover wing, and Andre Esterhuizen covering center and flank. It's obviously risky, but I wouldn't mind seeing it just to see what it does to the pundits around the world, and the absolute havoc. What's his name?
Matt Williams.
He will lose his shit.
He would absolutely lose his. I mean, Brian Abana did say it in tongue in cheek. He did say it would be a fun experiment just to do it once. But I think you want to have at least one backline player on the bench.
Not having a replacement kicker, whether that be a fullback or a fly half on the bench this weekend, could have been a risk as well. Obviously, with a few players on the field there that could kick, it always depends. You're never going to do something that risky against a team that's a little bit stronger. You've really got to give yourself a bit more option. But all players came off the bench at the same time.
The nuke squad now.
Yeah, which made me feel a little bit sorry for Wales, because it's just it almost feels like it's a bit of an unfair advantage then.
Yeah. So sorry, I just wanted to say on Andre Esterhuizen, he also came out and said at the beginning of the season, it was an idea that was sort of flown by him, and he accepted it in order to get more game time. Yeah. That was his main objective. I want to get on the field more. If this is going to enable me to do that, then sure, I'll sign up to it. And he has now admitted that he's actually really starting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
and he's enjoying being that hybrid player that can have that versatility.
I'm sure, yeah.
So interesting to hear that it wasn't necessarily something that he was sold on. It was more of a tactic from his side to just get more game time.
Yeah.
And it's shown, because otherwise he'd be stuck behind Dialende for most of it.
Absolutely.
And might even then get shifted down the ranks and get stuck behind a Damian Willemse if you've got to fit Apelele Fassi at fullback.
True.
And so for him strategically, good for his career, and now it's just proving to be an absolute masterstroke.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's get on to the biggest moment of the match.
What caught your eye there?
There
we go. I brought it back.
You managed to get it in. Eben Etzebeth, eye gouging. What was his name? Andrew Mann?
Alex Mann.
Alex Mann.
Amen.
And it's, I think, let's come of. It's been a few days now, which has given us the benefit of seeing a lot of the online reaction and some of the videos that have come out afterwards. I think, first of all, Mann looks like a man possessed in that video. It's scary to see Eben Etzebeth.
You mean Eben is a man possessed? Yeah.
In that you can see he's gone completely blank.
Oh yeah, he's a bull in a matador ring. He sees red, and there's nothing else is to be reasoned with.
Clearly, thumb goes in the eye. Luckily, Mann wasn't injured by it, which I think is the first important thing to note. Etzebeth gets a red card, which I think is very justified.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone's defending it. Now the aftermath of it. First of all, this has allowed some of the, I think, definitely Northern Hemisphere journalists to absolutely throw the book at South Africans. It's been incredible to read what some people have written about Eben Etzebeth and about the Springboks and South African fans in general. A lot of it has been sort of like along the lines of Springboks love to complain, but they're the dirtiest in the world, and Etzebeth has ruined his Springbok legacy forever. And it's disgusting behavior, don't get me wrong, but let's put it in the broader context of it. This is not the first person who's eye gouged, and one of our most famous eye gougers is also one of our most famous players in history with Skalkberger.
Yeah.
So I think we all just have to take a breath. It's not a great look. It was a stupid decision with the Springboks being 73-0 up. But it's also, everything is okay. He's going to get a ban. How do you look at that whole picture, that whole situation?
First of all, it wasn't the only eye gouge in the match. And no, I'm not talking about Alex Mann on the ground, if that happened or if that didn't happen. I'm talking about Wainwright. He got poked in the eye by one of his own players in a tackle, and he actually did look like he was injured. His whole eye was swollen.
If you had paused after that statement a little bit longer,
we could have cut some nice reel.
We could have clipped that and put it on TikTok, and people would have lost their shit. Maybe we still can.
Okay, so it wasn't the only eye gouge that happened that game.
Well done.
Now we can cut that one up.
Yeah.
No, but jokes aside, or not jokes aside, it's not really a funny matter. The response that has come out online, as you said, has been ludicrous on some parts. Some people are saying this should be dealt with as a criminal offense, and he should go to court or be sued and things like that. If we want to go down that road, I think everything in rugby can be considered bodily harm and assault. So it's like that's just a silly conversation to even have. Facts are, whether it was intentional or not intentional, his thumb struck his eye.
Yeah.
And looked like he was trying to rip it out.
Yeah.
Whether intentional or unintentional, the fact of the matter is, hands are in that vicinity. That risk is apparent to everybody who plays, to everybody who watches, and it shouldn't be a surprise that this could happen, accident or not. The ban for that should be severe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that can be career-ending and life-altering.
It can be life-altering. So 100%.
So he should get banned, and they should look at it. If there was provocation, if there was antagonization, any of that stuff, this must still be adjudicated for what it is.
It is, yeah.
And this is something that, we can maybe touch on it. This is something that we had an issue with regards to Jan-Hendrik Wessels, right? Mm-hmm. He allegedly grabbed some dude's testicles and then the retaliation from that Irish player was he got struck in the face.
And he was never punished.
And he was
for
never,
that retaliation.
his red card was actually rescinded,
Yeah.
right? The Irish player.
Which would mean that if there is conclusive video evidence, which we're not saying there is, that Etzebeth was antagonized, then this should be expunged as well.
And I don't agree with that. I
No,
don't think that
absolutely
should
not.
happen. Not at all.
Yeah.
Like, Etzebeth needs to be punished
Yeah.
within the case of what happened, right?
Absolutely. We're not saying, I think whether he was provoked or not, you can't do that. Let's go into what mitigating factors could be. Surprisingly, Eben Etzebeth has a pretty clean disciplinary record
Pretty
when it
squeaky
comes
clean.
to like bans and any hearings.
You wouldn't think that of an enforcer type person.
You wouldn't
right?
think of it. I mean, I think if we're honest, he did get away with a lot of stuff. Not early in his career, but like maybe up until like 4 years ago, he was a reckless individual. I almost thought that he got it very well under control in a sense that he was still an enforcer, but not in a reckless sense that he would lose his head.
The thing is, he would go in hot, he would grab, he would tug, he would potato sack, throw people onto the ground, but there was never striking.
Yeah.
And up until now, there was never gouging.
There was never that look in his eye, which you saw this time, which was just...
I disagree with that. There's a famous video where he throws an Australian player around like a rag doll.
Right.
He had a similar look in his eye, but...
Okay. All right. Possible mitigation. Khaleesi came out afterwards and says it was never intentional. I think Etzebeth is his best friend, so
he's going to
say that.
Yeah, of course.
Next is obviously any kinds of provocation will be mitigating factors.
Which I don't really agree with.
No, I mean, I think...
Like, I understand that that's the rubric
Yeah.
and that's how they operate it, but I don't... If somebody
no, I know what you
punches you, two wrongs don't make a right.
mean. You can't shoot it.
No, exactly, right?
And then I think the thing that has baffled me a little bit is because I did some research into people who have eye-gouged in the recent past and what their bans have been, and it is impossible to figure out who, why, and how you get a ban. Mapimpi, another South African, who unfortunately
Who's currently banned.
is currently banned.
Well, actually just came back from
Just
his
came
ban,
back. He received 3 games, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah. For gouging.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my online research could be woefully wrong.
Okay.
This is my research. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But then it goes up to sort of 6 games, 12 games, and then in the past, but this is a little bit longer ago, there was instances of people being banned for over a year.
Yeah.
Well over a year sometimes, just because it's seen as one of the dirtiest things you can do in rugby, because of how sensitive obviously the eye is. My opinion on this is, regardless what happens, I think as South African fans, we should accept it. I don't think we should argue that it's either unfair or whatever. I think in this instance, let's accept it for what it is.
Do you feel that South African fans disagree with the fact that he got a red card, the fact that he's going to receive a ban? Because what I've seen online so far has been pretty unanimous with the rest of the world. Like everybody, including Springbok supporters, say, well,
I would say 95%.
It's 95%.
There's
obviously, you're going to have some
There's
outliers.
5% of the fans that are posting like still images of the ruck beforehand, and something's being done to Etzebeth's face. In one of the pictures, it actually looks like Etzebeth is biting another oak, but then we're not going to touch on that.
So you might get a double ban.
I think predominantly people are definitely on the side of it's not okay. I think if I'm Rassie Erasmus, I'm very disappointed because I think as the number 1 team in the world, and especially the Springboks, we do antagonize a lot and we do sort of ruffle a lot of people's feathers. There's a target on our back already, which sometimes puts us in the limelight of pundits, referees, World Rugby. And there's just things that you can avoid making that target any bigger. And this was one of those things. It shouldn't put a shadow over the whole Springboks, but it sort of does in some instances, unfairly so.
It leaves the last year of rugby with
just a little bit of a
sour
bitter taste.
nose.
Yeah,
bitter
absolutely.
nose, yeah.
Which it definitely doesn't have to be, and I think if we're all realistic, that is a situation that is just it's an outlier.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll see what comes of it.
Did you? So I watched the game again this morning for the podcast, and it was quite interesting to see. So the ruck happened. Alex Mann and Eben Etzebeth were already getting into a bit of a scuffle, hands and faces from both sides. And Zachary Porton was actually the first guy on scene trying to calm them down, and he actually managed to calm Eben down.
Yeah,
I said, leave it, and he left it, and he kind of like let go of Alex. He was taking a step back, and then a couple more guys sort of got involved, and then I don't know if Alex Mann said something, but something triggered him, and he went back in for seconds. And that's where I was like, come on, dude. You were already halfway out the door.
You were gone.
And so it's definitely just a massive brain fart, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunate.
In the
Really
most
unfortunate.
negative. And that was the risk of this game, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that that Sharks rugby are actually obviously incensed by all of this because they feel very hard done by. But, I mean, he could have done this in any game.
Of course.
Whether that falls in an international window or not. But
it raises a good question, and I saw this on Egg Chasers, and he was saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently this is how it works in football, that if you get banned in a competition, you're banned for that competition.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that Eben Etzebeth might get a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, 6 month, 1 year ban, but
every game counts.
Right? So if he gets a 20 game ban, 20 Sharks games, and he's back for the Springboks, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't really make sense to me.
I'm on the fence with that because at the same, I do believe that you should be banned from all forms of rugby for a while for your offences. You can't behave like a tit in one competition, do inexplainable things, and then play the next week for your club again. I do disagree with that. There's actually a case now in world football where Cristiano Ronaldo in the last game of the World Cup qualifiers got a red card, or second last game maybe, and FIFA have expunged it so that he can play the first few games of the FIFA World Cup because he's their golden boy.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
well, maybe Eben is the golden boy for world rugby.
yeah, unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not.
Anything else on the Wales South Africa game you want to touch on?
Kenan Moody, my boy.
I'm
joking.
boy.
Yeah, everybody played very well.
Right.
The scrum wasn't as stable as and it's when we have Malcolm.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to see.
Long season for the Springboks. Nice to see them get up to it for a game like that and to close it out 2-0. One has to say that's not something to take for granted. All right, URC over the weekend. Very nice to see the competition back. The big game of the weekend was I guess you could call it almost a derby these days. It's definitely one of the biggest rivalries developing in the URC. Munster at home to the Stormers. Munster were 21-0 or 21-3. I think 21-3 up.
I'll be honest, I was in the kitchen making glühwein, so I don't quite remember what the score was at halftime.
They were cruising in the first half. Stormers ill-discipline, letting them down a little bit.
There's a couple of yellow cards. Yeah.
2 yellow cards. Sort of didn't let them get any momentum. Second half, game switched. Turned on its head. Munster actually got a yellow card. And Stormers came back to win that game 27-21 to remain unbeaten in the URC. Anything you as a Lions fan would like to say, or as a, not necessarily a Stormers lover about that result?
If you ask me what I want to say as a Lions fan, then I'll start talking about the Lions. So let's try and stick to the subject at hand. I think the comeback story is obviously amazing.
Yeah.
Well done to them. And you got to remember that they're missing Zachary Porton. They're missing Damian Willemse, and they're missing Sasha at 10. So, those are a couple of big playmakers, especially the 10 and 15, and to then come back away from home, hats off.
Impressive. Yeah,
that's really good.
And
Munster's solid, eh?
Munster is solid,
Munster's
and
good.
they've been playing. I wouldn't say expansive rugby, but very solid rugby. And I wouldn't have been surprised if they won that match after that first half, just because. Yeah, away from home, you're not supposed to give up that many points. So I think there's some questions to be asked there from them as well.
Top of the table clash, right?
Top of the table clash it was. Let's go into a few other games that happened over the weekend. I said in the intro, sort of sarcastically, that Connacht might be the only good Irish team. And the reason I said that is that because they're, I guess, the only team that's beaten South Africa in the last month, coming from Ireland. They thumped the Sharks.
I liken
17.
I liken that game a little bit to the Springboks beating Wales. You're beating the team that's ranked 12th in the competition, missing all of their Springboks. Not that they do much when they come back.
They weren't missing all of their Springboks, were they?
I think they had Grant Williams.
I think Mapimpi was there.
But Mapimpi hasn't been playing for the Springboks.
Hendrickse brothers, who are
those two boys need to stay far away from the Springboks the way that they've been playing.
Yeah, they're not.
It wasn't pretty.
Not going through a golden run of form. There's not a lot that we haven't said about the Sharks already, but a good win for Connacht nonetheless. Let's touch on your Lions quickly, beating the Bulls in the Yukske derby.
Yeah, some call it the Yukske derby, some call it the Highveld derby, and some are now calling it the Johan Ackermann derby because he used to be the coach for the Lions, now he's the coach for the Bulls. I mean, very, very impressive. I think the scoreline almost flattered the Bulls at the end there.
Yeah.
The Lions
scored a few tries late.
Ran away from them so early on in the game. And I will put my hand up and admit I did not expect that. I didn't see that coming. I did bet for the Lions to win, but that's just because I bet with my heart and not with my head.
Yeah.
Very impressive. Obviously, the Bulls missing key players, Johan Grobbelaar, for example, some other boys as well. So
Jan-Hendrik Wessels
is still banned. So understandable that they've got a staffing issue there currently, but
yeah,
they shouldn't be losing to the Lions.
Two other Irish teams won, Ulster thoroughly beating Benetton and Leinster making it a little bit tougher than it should have been against Dragons. The biggest upset of the weekend, though, came when bottom of the logs Scarlets beat Glasgow 23-0.
This is one where I bet with my head and I was like, no, of course, Glasgow should thump them.
It is very hard to understand what happened in that game.
I didn't look at the lineup, and now looking at the lineup in hindsight, they did play with a very, very second string team, third string team, and that's why they got a thumping. But that being said, Franco Smith just completely underestimated them.
Yeah.
He was under the impression I can go in there with a second string team and still make it work in our favor, and he got shown up.
To be fair to him, all the signs were pointing to that being the case. I mean, Scarlets hadn't won a single match up until then, so if you're going to rotate, it should be against that team. It is a little bit concerning to him, I think, how easily his second or third string team got run over by bottom of the log Scarlets.
Yeah.
I think he would have liked to see them put up a bit of a fight.
The fact that they were shut out is very disturbing.
Is pretty daunting. It's changed the log a little bit. The Lions are up into the top 8 now. They sit 7th.
Let's go.
Connacht are there about in 9th place. The Bulls have dropped down to 8. It's the Stormers and Cardiff now leading the way. Munster just behind. It's going to be a very interesting URC season because Leinster do not seem to be the powerhouse that they were in the last few seasons. And maybe that's a good lead into what we're going to discuss next. Maybe they're keeping all their firepower for the Investec Champions Cup, which is kicking off this weekend.
I actually just wanted to give a little shout out to the Dragons because they played against Leinster this weekend. And I don't know if Leinster has been inspired by Irish rugby, but they also decided to collect a whole bunch of cards as if they were playing Uno. And Dragons,
if we ask Irish rugby fans, it's because now there's an agenda against them.
Yeah, of course.
Welcome to the Springbok mentality.
Yeah. In your head.
Ooh,
yeah, never mind. Copyright issues if I sing that too well.
I think so, yeah.
Yes, the Investec Championship. We'll have to see, I guess, if they really are putting all their eggs in one basket and hoping to win that competition.
So I did a little bit of a thought experiment and asked or I checked who the bookies' favorites were for the Investec Championship. And there's no surprise that French teams are littering the
top of the log.
The top of the log. Toulouse are favorite to win. Leinster and Bordeaux are close behind. Surprising to see Leinster that high after their early season form. And then it's Bath, La Rochelle and Toulon. So not a lot of South Africans up there.
No Springboks inside.
No, but understandably so. Bordeaux are littered with talent, as we discovered by accident this morning. They play the Bulls at Loftus this weekend. Do the Bulls have a shot?
I don't know how many Springboks are coming back for the Bulls this weekend.
Yeah.
I think if there are Bulls coming back into, if there are Springboks coming back into the rotation, I think then they'll actually be able to put up a decent fight. But also these boys are tired, eh?
Yeah.
It's been a long season, a lot of games.
It is, yeah.
And now you're going into a different system with a coach that's new.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if the Bulls looked at this game and said, this is one we need to win. I think they looked at this and they said, we're going to give it a good shot, but whatever may come, may come.
At the same time, different season down in South Africa. It's hot.
It's true.
It's high altitude. So maybe
Bordeaux struggle.
Maybe Bordeaux struggle with the conditions.
Yeah.
And the Bulls have a good shot at toppling essentially the best team or one of the best teams.
The defending champs. Yeah.
In the log, so let's see.
If you thought that Connacht against the Sharks was a mismatch,
here we
it's Toulouse versus the Sharks in France this weekend. This
fixture happened last season.
Yeah, in Durban,
and I can't remember what the score was, but I think it was also
it was pretty one-sided. Yeah,
pretty conclusive.
If we say that the Springboks maybe put a nail in the Welsh rugby coffin, I think Toulouse could put a few nails in the Sharks rugby coffin. They seem oddly confident on social media, the Sharks, making jokes at the Bulls' expense. And
yeah, they were saying stuff for Sharks Fest, right? They were saying, hey, Bulls fans, if you feel like you've been cheated out of this, that, the next thing, if you miss good music, then you should come to Sharks Fest. They should be saying, like, listen, Sharks fans, if you miss good rugby, we'll give you your money back.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible what they've been putting on.
It's atrocious, and I'm legitimately worried for them this weekend. What Toulouse could do to them.
Honestly, I think they've lost so many games now that losing to a quality side like Toulouse is not really going to make the difference. I think them
What
losing.
if it's a beating though? What if it's really, really a beating? Like, what if it's like 65-10?
I think they're so down in the gutter already. I don't know if it's going to make a difference.
Yeah,
I think they need to get beaten by like a Pau or something like that.
Pau, oh, this is an interesting storyline. They played La Rochelle over the weekend in the top 14, and La Rochelle received the fastest red card ever. I think it was 34 seconds.
It was a kickoff and then got tackled as he was catching the ball.
Some La Rochelle player kung fu kicked a Pau player in the head. Some say accidentally. There was blood, so the ref sent him off, which then led to Ronan O'Gara getting onto the pitch and arguing with the referee. So he's going to receive a ban.
So he also get a red.
Well, yeah, he did, because it wasn't the only time that he argued with the ref in that game.
Do you think it was because of his broken French? With his Irish accent.
So Pau play Northampton, which is another good game. Northampton, funnily enough, even though they were in the final last year, aren't amongst the bookies' favourites. I think they were more of an outside run last year as well. But it shows you what's possible. Stormers are away to Bayonne. Sale play Glasgow. Saracens play Claremont. La Rochelle Leicester, which is another good game. Leinster play Harlequins, which is quite a good tie to get up for. I think Harlequins can really put a cat amongst the pigeons. Scarlets play Bristol. Bath play Munster, which is a really good one.
That's a good one.
If Munster can somehow get themselves up for this game, I think they can cause Bath some problems. Bath is really, really good.
Munster's just been playing such good rugby, though.
Yeah.
I mean, also clash at the top of the table. I'm sure Bath must be somewhere at the top of the table in the
really
Premiership.
Good fixtures on, and Edinburgh play Toulon, which is also another one. Gloucester play Castro, so it's a weekend to look ahead to with some great games. I think we're gonna just dissect it more once we see the first bit of results. But up until now, I think anyone betting against Toulouse winning this whole thing is probably got either a glass ball that they're looking into,
or Bordeaux,
or they're fan of Bordeaux or Leinster.
Yeah, actually, listening to you call out all of the names on that sheet, it's crazy to me that the Sharks are there. It sounds like an April Fool's joke.
Well, the Scarlets are there because they actually played quite well last year.
Yeah, but they're better than the Sharks.
They are probably.
I mean, they just beat Glasgow.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to touch on the other competition, the Challenge Cup today, But there's also some great teams in there. And I think it would be really, really great from a South African point of view if the Lions can do something there. I don't necessarily have too much hope for the Cheetahs because I just feel like coming into a competition like this, having not played any rugby of this caliber is really tough. But the Lions, I think it would be great if they could put up some sort of fight in this competition.
Yeah, the Lions have got a really nice way of playing the game, which is always very exciting. It's just we really struggle with the depth that we have.
Yeah.
And so if we get a couple injuries, we really start struggling in terms of finding that next player who comes in and can sort of match what the first string side would do.
Listen, I'm going to put it out there. Watch the Stormers.
Watch the Stormers. With the Springboks coming back.
Yeah, I do think the Stormers don't have the depth either to play two competitions competitively. And like you said, the teams in this Investec Champions Cup are unreal. I think it's a great competition. I think we're lucky to be part of it as South African teams. I do think we need to respect it more in terms of the players that we select for it. But just looking at the fixtures for this weekend, it gets me really excited for rugby again.
In club rugby, it is the best competition in the world. And I agree with you. The fact that over the last couple of years, a lot of our franchises haven't been giving it the respect that it deserves is quite disconcerting. So hopefully moving forward, I don't think that Johan Ackerman is going to go the same route as a Jake White.
No,
I think he's been up in the UK at Glasgow and stuff like that. So I think he's got a different attachment to the European Championship. So I think teams are going to start giving it the respect.
It could be that the South African teams just needed to get into the swing of things. The level of rugby being played in the Investec Champions Cup compared to the URC is another step above. And having just gotten used to the URC, even though our teams have performed quite well in it, there is a different intensity you need to bring to those games. So,
and by no means are we saying that any of the South African franchises are now suddenly going to go win it because now we care.
No.
It is that higher caliber and there's a lot of respect for it.
Yeah.
But
it's just great to see how much the European players, especially the French, care about this tournament and how much effort and how much they get up for these games. It's very comparable to how some players get up for the Champions League in football. You know, it's such a special event, and you need to treat it with. It can't just be another Saturday of rugby. You need to come in with a different level of intensity.
We're those new friends in a big group. You know, we're still on the outside. We're still like just chatting amongst ourselves. Every now and again, we get into a deeper conversation with one of the stalwarts of the group. In the URC, we've now got our rivalries. You know, your Storm and Munster is a great rivalry.
Bulls
Leinster is a great rivalry. Yeah. Sharks, no rivalry then. Sharks Dragons. But you know what I mean. So like as the years have gone by, those rivalries have intensified and have gotten really excited, and there's passion and there's almost like history behind it now. So even the European sides are getting excited about those matchups. And I think with the European Championship, it's going to happen as well.
Yeah,
give us another couple of years, and I think a Leinster Bulls is also going to turn into a Bulls Toulouse and Stormers Bordeaux
Hopefully.
And stuff like that. And then I think we're really going to integrate ourselves into the competition more on a passion level and on a historic level.
Absolutely. I think that wraps it up for this weekend.
Yeah, I think so.
We're going to be back next week discussing some of the European Champions Cup, the draw for the Rugby World Cup.
That's happening.
I think
now, today or tomorrow.
No,
as of recording. Okay, so that's
on the 5th
Friday.
Yeah. Yes.
That was just a guess. I don't know.
I don't know. So we'll also discuss that next week. The rankings have been fixed now. Draws happening. So lots to discuss again next week. Thanks for listening. Get involved on the socials. Comment in the comments. Anything that we've gotten wrong, you tell us about it. If you do appreciate the podcast, we do appreciate a follow.
If you miss Dominic, you can have a chat with him down in the comments.
Yeah.
He will respond to you.
Tell him you'll miss him. I'm sure he appreciates it.
Exactly.
Thanks a lot. See you again.
Thanks, guys.